Welcome to the Black A History Channel. Please share this video and subscribe to this channel for more captivating content. It's so fascinating to know Black A people were a part of ancient European history, particularly in Italy. One of the ways we know this is because Rome was a notoriously pro-gay culture compared to other ancient people, and also because we now know the famous Roman gladiators not only celebrated same-sex relationships, there was also black African gladiators. With these two facts in mind, we can then deduce that there were black gay gladiators throughout the nearly 1,000 years long reign of the gladiator era. We also know that the mysterious ancient Etruscans that predated both the Greeks and Romans resided in northern Italy were a multicultural group of people who also celebrated gay intimacy and relationships in their art. In regards to the Roman gladiators, Wikipedia has an entire page dedicated to black people in Roman history, who were once called Aethiopes in the region, a term for darker-skinned people with coiled hair. Yes, folks, back in ancient times, all of Africa was once called Ethiopia. Black Africans were coming into Rome from countries as far away as modern-day Egypt, to Sudan, to Libya, to Tunisia. Some came as politicians, soldiers, some as slaves, and some would end up as gladiators, either as a profession or as a form of punishment for criminal offenses. One quote that stuck out to me about the black gladiators in Wikipedia says, quote, Aethiope were rarely in the capital under Nero. It was evidence of a brilliant and costly affair, when the gladiators for a whole day's show consisted only of Aethiopes, end quote. That means that even in ancient Rome, they had black-specific gladiator days dedicated to just black African fighters. Gladiators were armed swordsmen who entertained crowds of Roman political figures and common folk by fighting animals, criminals, and other gladiators in colosseums and other large amphitheaters from as early as the 3rd century BC, roughly 2,200 years ago. The era of gladiator games lasted for nearly 1,000 years, though the traditions died out with the rise of Christianity in Rome and the rest of Europe. Wrestling and sexual intimacy between gladiators has been depicted on many Roman artifacts like vases and dishes and paintings, so there's no confusion as to the love lives of gladiators. A notable same-sex gladiator pairing recorded in history was the popular Priscus and Verus, who fell in love while training at a Roman school. Their love story was popular enough to be written into a play and performed for the Roman Emperor Nero. Many historians have deduced that Romans believed strong emotional bonds would make for better survival for partners and teammates in the arena. Romans also saw fighters as men who needed to be virile, and so having a strong sex drive and having sex with strong men was seen as a sign of strength, not a sign of weakness, like many see gay intimacy today. As we know, the emergence of Christianity saw a rise in critical judgment of the Roman belief in multiple gods, and also saw a decline in acceptance of same-sex relationships. Therefore, I may not have found names of specific black and gay gladiators. The fact that we know the Aethiopes and homosexual gladiators were both celebrated is enough for me to know that in fact black gay gladiators fought in ancient Rome. We know less about the mysterious ancient Etruscan people, but some historians speculate that they are a race of ancient Italian people predating the Roman Empire, whose society may have consisted of many immigrants from North Africa. Romans recorded the details of the change of power from their dark-skinned neighbors to the south to the Roman tribes that eventually formed the powerful Roman Empire, but many people are unaware that the Etruscans populated what is now Italy for many years before and during the beginning of the Roman Empire. The Etruscans were a dominant culture in Italy after 650 BC, and the Etruscan culture predated and influenced the great Roman people that came after. The origins and ethnicity of the Etruscans is unknown, yet when I googled where the Etruscans originated from, there was clearly much debate from scholars and communities online. Some people think they were just native Italians who had always been there, some think they migrated from North Africa, and some think they migrated from the Middle East, from countries like Turkey. But one thing that always stands the test of time is art and how they depicted themselves. I also think it's likely that the Etruscans comprised of all three of these groups because of Italy's close proximity to North Africa and the Middle East. Many historians believe the Etruscans' history has been whitewashed, and there is ancient Roman and Greek writing describing the Etruscans as darker skinned people who were also very open to gay relationships. It is clear from the Etruscan paintings, vases, and other cultural artifacts left behind that there were white, black, and mixed Etruscans, especially more so than we see in ancient Rome and Greek art. The Etruscans were known to be expert agriculturalists and miners and had powerful trading relationships with the Greeks and the North African kingdom of Carthage. It's important to note that Carthage, obviously being a North African kingdom, was likely even more so black, African, than the Etruscans, and the Greeks have some of the most detailed and recorded gay subcultures in ancient history. So the Etruscans also having close relationships to other African and gay-friendly kingdoms makes total sense. The Romans also recorded the Etruscans to be very sexually progressive, possibly even more so than the Romans themselves. There's plenty of Etruscan imagery you can Google online displaying gay intimacy between black and white Etruscans, and we are talking 3-ways and 4-ways too. In Italian museums, there are ceramic wine cups depicting gay intimacy, naked athletes, and men dancing with satyrs. Even more fascinating is the Infernal Quadriga of Sartiano, an ancient underground tomb that was recently discovered in 2003 that depicts Etruscan men in loving embrace, leading many historians to believe the men who were buried there were likely gay. These are just a few examples of black gay culture in ancient Italy, from the dark-skinned curly-headed Etruscans depicted in their artwork and illustrious tombs, to the notorious gladiator fights in ancient Rome and across the Middle East and in North Africa that celebrated the quote-unquote exotic Ethiops and the passion of gladiators who also loved one another.